Flash of light, flash of hope, build your dream on Destiny Song. It can be done when you truly know the mind of right and wrong. So don't pretend a fallen friend, you know the way to go. Or that you are so perfect, like the very perfect arm. Come out of your Ed City, get off the Cosby cloud.
Do you think the Urantia book has all of the truth in it? It even says it's incomplete. That's why continuing fifth epical revelation is coming. Continuing fifth. And right now, we are on volume 6 of the continuing fifth epical revelation, and only 2 volumes are out there to the world. And I guarantee you, it's not a bestseller. Because you have to put too much together. You have to read. You have to be disciplined. You have to study to show yourself approved unto God so that you can rightfully divide the word of truth. And if you don't study, you will not put 2 and 2 together. Continuing fifth is in the Urantia book is not a book that you just read through a few times and got it all. No, there could be one paragraph in the Urantia book that you should read 1,000 times. Because that truth will only be revealed to you when you are virtuous enough to get the truth from the divine mind of the Mother Spirit. All truth is protected. You know, we go as human beings, we say, oh, that person has the Urantia book and, you know, they're missing writing it and blah, 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 and has continuing fifth and they're, you know, miswriting it and so on and so on and so on. Well, yes, they are. Yes. But those of us that have moved on in our spiritual ascension, we know that what they are saying is untrue. Untrue. No matter if they fool 100, 1,000, they did not fool you. And one that has the truth is greater than 10,000 that have a lie. Just like Adam and Eve were sent to Urantia to give their genetics to humankind, so too the sons of God were chosen to give their genetics to the daughters and sons of the falling evolutionary races. This in reality was some of the fallen staff of the Caligastia 100. For after the fall, they continued to intermarry with the human races. And the male and female had relationships with human beings indiscriminately, which is why the negative aspect of cohabitation is written about by scholars trying to understand that passage in Genesis. This is why marriage is so important to the right man and right woman. Because if you have a child with a wrong man and wrong female, but mostly a wrong man, it's his sperm that's going into every system of your body. Not just the birthing system, but every system. Every gland. And you will be affected negatively, and it will cause many diseases if you continue on in this wrong relationship. The Urantia book is more detailed, and continuing fifth epical revelation gives even higher detail. The Urantia book, more detailed than the Bible. Continuing Fifth, more detailed than the Urantia book. Oh, I said it. Since the fall of Caligastia and the fall of the 60 supermortals, marriage between ascending daughters and ascending sons on the fallen Urantia has been greatly imbalanced and affected by rebellion within the souls of the male and female body. Why we die so young. Why we get cancers. And so many other diseases. The idea of harmonic duality, the idea of harmonic marriage, has been lost to Urantia. Only in some religions, in some continents, do they have even a beginning level of this understanding. This is why they are so adverse to their daughters marrying the wrong man. It's why parents chose the man or woman. Not that that is always right either, but it's a concept of higher truth that was done during the time of pre-rebellion, if it could be done. You see, God doesn't force anything on us. The Caligastia 100 before they fell, and Caligastia himself did not force anything on anybody. They suggested, just like every true elder suggests the truth. You could follow it or you can't. I don't tell anyone who to marry. I might hint at things, but I try not to say you must or you shouldn't. I try to suggest. This idea is exemplified by who? Once again, the Creator Son and the Universe Mother Spirit. Do they make mistakes? Neither should we. But it's still in the early stages, even here in divine administration, of its perfection. We are still animals in many aspects. We want to marry just to have sex. Because we've been taught that sex ends when we die. Van is here to tell you again, just like he wrote for hundreds of thousands of years, that sex continues all the way to thought adjuster fusion. So don't think, oh, if I never have a child, I won't ever have a child. I'm past childbirth age. Well, just wait a few more years, you'll be getting a brand new body and you'll be starting all over again. That should help you. That knowledge, that truth should help you. Urantia book movement says, oh, marriage is over once you die. That is a lie. Urantia book doesn't say that. It says that it's an incomplete revelation. Urantia book teachings ended. In 1993, the teachings were continued. Paper 197 came out, and on. And in those teachings, it does talk about marriage continuing on the mansion worlds. Oh, that's a lie. That can never be. Look, if you want to live in eternal frustration, that's fine with me. It's up to you. It's your salvation. It's your ascension. It's you that's in anxiety. It's you that's mad at God because you never had a baby. It's you that's mad. Believe what you want. But I'm here to tell you, we have 570 bodies to continue marriage with and have children. Much higher children than we can have here on New Rancho. Except for those here in Divine Administration that can bring through Mansion World children. Oh! Why is that? Because we try a little harder to wait until we find our true complement. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to help you. I don't know where it's going to go in your lives. But if you want the best from God, it will go to a good place. That's all I can tell you. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the ins and outs. That's between you and Michael. But I'm here to push you one way or the other. And that's what I do. That's what Van has done for over 500,000 years on this planet. And more. Push people one way or the other. Venetics. You thought this was going to be a short teaching, huh? That's okay, people out there watching this on YouTube. Just stop it right there and quit. It's too long. That's why you might not make the first Mansion World. You got too many other busy things to do. Watch it in sections if it's long. But watch this teaching. The Urantia book, paper 82, teaches the introduction that says, marriage has given mankind the home, and the home is the crowning glory of the whole long and arduous evolutionary struggle. Wow. I mean, to me, that says it doesn't end on this planet. Does it? Right there, that one statement nullifies there's no marriage in heaven. That one statement. Long and arduous evolutionary struggle. It's not over when you die. You'll be working out your complementary relationship for 570 bodies until you fuse with your thought adjuster. You'll be having enough children to, create many football teams. First circle relationships. Boing. People read the psychic circles and the Urantia movement and have no idea what it really is. Continuing fifth gives more information. But first circle relationships are only achieved right now on Urantia, right now, within the mandate of the bright and morning star. So some of you guys actually have a chance of reaching the first psychic circle. Boing. You say, we don't want you to. We want to be the ones. That's such baloney. I would want every one of you to reach the first psychic circle. Every one of you. The majority of male-female relationships on this planet are at the level of the fourth psychic circle all the way down to the seventh. That's the majority of relationships on this planet. People involved in marriage from fourth to the seventh circles can be somewhat happy with each other, but never achieve their true destiny purposes with each other and have very little benefit to humankind as a whole. What do they usually do? They settle for a career to make money, buy a nice home, buy a car, go on vacations. They're happy. Prestige, position, they don't go beyond that. But destiny reservists are unhappy with that at some point in their ascension. And they move on. And hopefully they will move on to the third psychic circle. Hopefully they will come to Dalmatia. They will come to the planetary sacred home. They will come to divine administration. 200,000 years ago, it was Dalmatia. Now it's Tumakakri. It's Avalon Gardens. It's divine administration. It's the University of Ascension Science and the Physics of Rebellion. It's the Temple of Hermia. Our dots are beginning to connect. These marriages can achieve somewhat of actualization and human happiness within their own nuclear family, but not be an instrument of healing for the whole planet as a whole. David, king of Israel, was first and foremost a shepherd, meaning that David was a pastor. A pastor. People talk about David. He was a great king. He did it for the same reason I do what I do every day. God's will. But he was first and foremost a shepherd, a pastor, a concerned soul about someone else's growth. The writings of David, which was the writings of Van, which was Venetic writings, was also lost in Alexandria Library. I mean, can you go out and find a book about David? Can anybody find one? An actual writing of David of Israel. Why? Say, oh, he never wrote. The only books you can find about David is in the Bible and the Psalms and the Book of Wisdom. That's phonetic writings. People who are in the know that David was Van. He was a pastor and a priest. He had to be a warrior, but he didn't want to be. But he had to be. This is why great accomplishments were done by King David. He had an Hermetic Venetic marriage. He had complements helping him achieve his own destiny. And that's what a divine relationship between two people should accomplish, to push each one forward to meet their individual destiny in God for that moment in time and space. And there are many moments. Let's say that moment might be 100 years together, or 50 years together, or 25 years together, or 1 year together. That 1 year should push each other forward. Some relationships are forever. You know it's forever. You should know it's forever. David was far ahead of his son Solomon. David didn't have 1,000 concubines, did he? Solomon did, his son. And Solomon was also called the wisest man that ever lived. It wasn't Solomon. It was David that was the wisest man that ever lived. Because he was Van. But it's nice that some scribe wrote that. Probably Solomon paid him off or something, But everything in the Bible is not true. A lot of it is. And it's your job to figure out what's true and what's not. But you should read the Bible, because the Bible is the book of prophecy. That's for sure. Your Urantia book is not a book of prophecy. Your Urantia book is a book of truth and cosmology, but not prophecy. Your Urantia book doesn't give you the signs of his coming the second time. Bible does. So when I gave some of those writings to somebody in the Urantia book, they took a fit that I was talking about. Soon Michael is coming back, and here's why. God doesn't want us to be in the blind. Michael doesn't want us to be in the blind. So Solomon tried to find his own spiritual complements, innate within him, by having concubines that were not the real thing. See, Solomon didn't know that he had to manifest those complements the same way his father did, by his purity, by selfless motives to serve someone else, by first being a shepherd, a pastor. Solomon was in love with himself. And when you're in love with yourself, you do not get God's insight. So Solomon never achieved what David achieved, because only God can bring you the true Hermetic marriage, which is done by providence. Providence, not by human choice. Even the evolutionary races understood that there was a kind of magic experience that happened in their lives beyond their own choice, which they attributed to the Creator's hand in their lives, yea, because they knew they had nothing to do with this magic. When you walk through life experiencing that magic, hallelujah, I say that term because it is a hallelujah. Different cultures call this magic different things. Lao-Tse called this the Tao. Something so perfect that it could not be done by the human hand or mind. The Tao. This became known as the universal energy by other adepts and sages. The universal energy. That's surely a good thing. Some of us don't even know that it works, that it's there, that it's available. How does that universal energy work? What do you plug in? What do you put in? What outlet? I want some of that. You only get it by purity of the soul. Us humans and mortals and every planet in time and space, the male and female relationships were called the mind, the positive, while the heart was also called the negative pole. We learn more about the heart and all its sub-circuits in continuing Fifth Epical Revelation, which is I in no way can even touch on right now. But it's male and female. We know, as the Urantia book teaches, and Urantia book readers, that the male is positive and the female negative, and that the universe mother energy lives in the mind circuitry, the mama. But both polarities can live in the heart. Both polarities can live in the heart. Matter of fact, the Trinity also, the Son, can live in the heart. Why is that? Can't even begin to teach on it right now. There are some things you cannot put out an hour or two video and teach on it. It just doesn't, it's not work, doesn't happen. That's why these schools, that's why the school of Hermia, I'm sorry, sounds like hernia. That's how you might remember it. Because philosophers can go there, and teachers and from all over the world, and teach on it, you know. You don't have to make an appointment. I mean, you might have to, you know, at some point, but you don't have to be a known reader in a New Age magazine to get to teach in this Hermia. You just have to be one thing and one thing only. They have to meet you and they have to see you're a nice guy. Or you're a nice woman. You know? They have to see that you have God in you. Then you get a chance to teach. They don't look at your degrees. They don't say, do you have a degree in theology? Did you go to Harvard? That's not how they judge you. They judge you by your soul growth. There are analogies between the sun and the moon, male, female, as being male or female. The sun by the ancients was understood to be the heart. For them reflects strength, reason, and logic, that masculine or paternal power. And love, beauty, intuition, and kindness were feminine and lunar qualities. Boy, there's a lot of teaching right there. A lot of stuff, man. In our chemical understanding, gold and silver blended together represent spiritual qualities in human life. That's why I don't understand completely why you like silver and you like gold. And in between stuff, you don't like as much, maybe. Why is that? Learn about it. Come here and learn, continue your fifth epical revelation, and you become a great alchemist. And you're becoming an alchemist, even though some of you might not realize it. Some of you are wondering, who am I? Where am I going? You already know more than most people in the world. And so the marriage of the sun and moon was therefore the marriage of the heart and mind, or two halves of nature coming together, which is the union of strength, masculine, and beauty, feminine, courage, masculine, and inspiration, feminine. Not that one of these qualities can't be in the other. Male can have a lot of qualities of the female and vice versa. And we should. But a male should first and foremost be masculine, and a female first and foremost be feminine. Gender identity is found in the relationship of the Creator Son with the Universe Mother Spirit. You don't think of the Universe Mother Spirit as being unbalanced, do you? You don't think of her as being unbalanced in any way. You think of her as kind of be like angelic, you know? And you think of Michael as being masculine. I mean, any dude who can go in the temple and throw out the money changers, I would say is masculine. Presently on Urantia, we are in the infancy of understanding between female and male polarities and how they relate to one another in human marriage. We understand that there's a yin and a yang in all human personalities. This was not brought through in China, but was brought through by Van and the 100 supermortals to the evolutionary races before the fall. People hear the yin and yang, right? And they say, China. Caligastia 100. This was one of the primary teachings of the Caligastia 100 before the fall. Yin and yang, and how that affects us, male and females. The yin and yang is taught in all of the grand universe and every planet in time and space. China? Don't give undue credit to countries, to Chinese adepts. The Yonsei continued to bring through these teachings of the masculine and feminine polarities in every incarnation. In Genesis, it states that God created man in his own image. Male and female created he them. We must remember that Moses, who was also Van, wrote the first 5 books of the Bible called the Pentateuch. He's the one that wrote about Adam and Eve. We should understand from this sentence that God indeed is both male and female. Cohabitation between male and female brings forth new life. But the marriage between male and female in relationships to family and home is the kindergarten stages here on Urantia. Just very small in understanding these teachings. And the higher teachings of grand universal examples of marriage has never taken root on fallen Urantia. You see, on some planets in time and space, I mean, like, it's way, way, way beyond our little bit meager understanding here on Urantia. And the marriage institution, with having children and raising them as parents, is an alteration of the universal example that exists on higher worlds of time and space. Marriage is therefore the Hermetic Venetic symbol of the ultimate reunion of the two halves of each other's individual androgynous nature. There needs to be an equilibrium between the masculine and the feminine qualities in true universal marriage. Or else we would not really have true marriage on Urantia.
Until you send me my best friend, I'd rather spend another night alone. Yeah, I'd rather spend another night alone. For a woman with true beauty, these spiritual eyes to see. For a woman with true beauty has to understand Calvary. I don't need just company, I need the other half of me. And if she don't come soon, I don't think I'll write another tune. No, I don't think I'll write another